In this lecture, we are going to implement OpenCage data API into our Salesforce environment. So without making any further delay, let's quickly start. To implement OpenCage data into our Salesforce, we have to perform these 5 steps. We have to follow these 5 steps that I have listed here. Number 1, we need to add remote site settings. Why we need to add remote site settings is because whenever we are trying to integrate with any third-party system, we need to tell to Salesforce that this is a secure site that we are going to consume, and there is no harmful or there is no harm for Salesforce data whenever we are accessing this remote site system and the data is coming to Salesforce. So now the question is, what URL we need to add to the remote site setting? So we need to add the base URL of our third party system. In our case, our third party is OpenCage data, so we need to add the base URL. How we can get the base URL? We will see in a few minutes. And then second step is, what we need to do is we need to create a custom labels to store the API key and API endpoint. Why we are using these custom labels? So that we can change the API key in later point of if we wanted to change the API key, or customer provides us their own API key which is a paid API, then we can just change the label and the code will work as it is. That's why we need to follow the step 2. Now we have step 3, where we need to develop the apps class. We will see how we can develop, and then we are going to deal with the JSON, because we have seen in our previous lecture that OpenCage data returns both XML and JSON as a response. So we will be dealing with JSON here. We will be passing the JSON response into our apps class, and then we will be debugging that response. And we will also try to update, we will try to take a use case, and then we will implement that use case there itself. So let's quickly start from step 1, adding the remote site setting. Okay, so this is our OpenCage data, the dashboard that I'm already logged in. If you are not logged in, please log in into the dashboard. And then the first step that we need to do is we just need to find this base URL of our API, which is api.opencage.com, opencagedata.com. But even if I copy this complete URL, that is also going to work. What it is going to take as a remote site setting, you will be able to see itself. So here, this is my Salesforce org where I'm going to implement this complete course. I will recommend you to please spin up a new developer environment for you, so that if there is any additional code which doesn't make uh, any issue, or which doesn't create any issue for your code that we are going to implement. So for that, to create a remote site setting, we'll just quickly go to remote site from the quick search box and click on this remote site settings. You can see here I already have some here like OpenCage. I'm going to delete this. I will show you this once we are done. So now I'm going to click on this new remote site, and here I will say OpenCage. I will say OpenCage data. There should not be any space or any special character. And then I'm going to paste this complete URL. I pasted the complete URL, but what it will take? It will take the URL till this, because this is the base URL, and then after we have these resources and the complete request that we wanted to have. So I'm going to save this here. Now you can see here, right, remote site settings. It is saying api.opencagedata.com. Now we are done with the step 1. We have the step 2, which is saying add some custom labels. So we will go to and we will say custom label, and then under the build we are going to create a custom label here. And what we are going to store in that custom label is we are going to store our API key. I just copied this, and then I'm going to create here. So I'm just going to delete this once because I already have that one. I'm going to delete this. Okay, it is being referenced somewhere in the class. So let's quickly create a new one. So I will say OpenCage key. I'll name it as OpenCage key, and then I'm going to use the value that we have got. Okay, so this is the one label that we have created. And then next is to put the base URL, right, for OpenCage endpoint. So I'm going to use the same that I already have this existing custom label. You can go ahead and create that, and you can put this value. This is what value we are going to put here. We are saying that we need to have this api.opencagedata.com geocode version 1 JSON ? Till here we are having our endpoint into the custom label, which is saying that OpenCage endpoint. Okay, this is what we have. Now we have created this. Now the actual work is here. We have to start developing. So for that, open your developer console. I've already opened that. I'm just going to open here. This is an skeleton code that I have put here, right? A skeleton code means that just a code where we are going to put our own code. We are going to see how we can do that, right? For endpoint, we have created a custom label. We are going to access that. How we will access is, we will say system dot, what we need to access is, we need to access label. So we will say system dot label, and what label we wanted to add is access is OpenCage endpoint. This is the label that we wanted to access, right? Now I'll say I will create a new variable here. I'll say API key. Okay, and then I'm going to access this API key value as well. I'll say system dot label dot open case key. This is what we have created. We can just quickly copy and paste from here as well. So we have got this, right? So we have got this open case key. This is okay. We have got the endpoint. We've got the API key. Now, whenever we are trying to integrate with any third-party system, we have to do very simple step and which are similar for all these requests. Okay, first thing we need to do is we need to create a method. We need to create an object of a class called HTTP. That is what we have created. And why this class is being used? This class is being used for sending any request to the third-party system. So that is what we have got, this HTTP. And under this class we have a method called send, which takes HTTP request. That means the request that we are going to prepare, and then it sends to the third party system and gives us the response. So it gives the response, either the response is success or the response is error, but it will definitely give us any response which will be a valid. Valid means it is giving us a response no matter either success or an error. And then we need to create another object of HTTP request class. This class is responsible for preparing our request, we will see. And then there is one more class which is HTTP response. This class is responsible for storing the response that our third party system will return us, a success or an error response. So we have created the object of these three. And then I've just given try catch. Why I'm using try catch here? Because sending an HTTP request to any system might be risky. There might be some errors. That's why I'm putting a try catch here. In the catch block, I'm just checking if our catch block, our exception is starting with unauthorized endpoint. That means we have not added our URL into the remote site setting. That was our very first step that we did. If not, then we are just trying to get whatever the error is. This is not Google Calendar API. This is OpenCage Data API. So this is what we have to put here, and we are just trying to put a system.debug here to see if there is any error. Now let's try to prepare our request. How we will prepare our request? We have got this request object. What we have to do is, we have multiple methods here, right? So we have got this HTTP request dot. First thing that we need to tell is what operation we wanted to perform, either get, post, put, delete or patch. So in this case what we wanted to do is, we wanted to get the data, we wanted to get the geocode, either address or latitude and longitude. So we will put get method here, all in caps. Don't put into the small letters. And next method is, we need to tell is what endpoint we wanted to, what is the endpoint that we have, the URL that we wanted to hit here, right? So how we will prepare that URL? Let's quickly see here. We are going to talk about forward geocoding first. That means we are going to take address as an input and get the latitude and longitude from the system. Okay, so we'll just quickly get back to here and forward here. So this is the response, right? We are just going to quickly get this. That's it. So we have just got this URL and we are just going to put here for our use, right? So we already have this endpoint up to here in this endpoint. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to prepare the final endpoint here. So we can say string final endpoint. So we will say, now we have got this endpoint. Now what we have is, we have to put some query here, right? We have to put some query parameter. So let's quickly copy this for now, and we will say, let's quickly see what we have, till query and question mark we have. So we will put here, we will say endpoint plus, then we have this, and then we need to put inside single quotes because this is an static text. And then what we need to put is we need to put and then we need to have this key, right? For this key, what we need to do is we need to have this dynamically. So we will say key equal to, and we have got this API key, the key that we have got from the label, and then we have this pretty one. So I'll say and pretty one because this is an static text that is going to be. Now we are going to use this endpoint over here. Now what we did is we tell that this is the method, we tell the system that this is the endpoint that we wanted to hit here, and then we can also set that, right, as we know that we wanted to have some sort of data in a form of JSON. So what we will do is we will see here, we will say we will add headers and we will say content type. And what content type, what kind of content we wanted to get? We wanted to get application by JSON format data we wanted to get. There are many other methods that we will have a look while we are trying to integrate with other systems, but for now it's okay. It is good for us. Now we have prepared the request. Next step is to send the request, right? So what we will do is we already have a method HTTP and we will say send, and inside send we are going to pass this object of HTTP request. Okay, now we have got this. So what we will do is we will say we will check if the status code, if you remember in our postman, right, when we send any information, any URL, we hit any URL, we get this status code as 200, right? So we need to check here if the status code, right? Now we send the request, where we wanted to store it. We wanted to store it in a variable called response, which is nothing object of HTTP response. Now this class also have few methods. So first thing what we will say is we will say get status code. If it is 200, that means our system is getting a valid response. Valid means a success response. So and then if else, our system is not getting a valid response. And for the else, we can copy this complete whatever we have, and then we can just put a debug here, and we say that system.debug, or I can just quickly copy as I already have this into my code here. So we have got this, right? Now if we have got the success, I'm just putting that variable, I'm going to change it. For the success, what we will say is we will say string body equal to, inside response class we have a method called get body. It is going to return the body in a form of string, and we are just logging, or we are just debugging that body inside our fs class that we will be able to see inside our developer console, right? So now what we will do is we have developed this. We have not done anything, we have not passed, we have not did anything. We're just passing a simple static request and trying to see if we are able to get the data or not. So now to test it, I'm just copying this class name. I'll just go to debug, execute anonymous window. I'm going to just say here, I've got this util here, and then this is the method forward geocoding. I'm going to just execute this, and I'm making sure this checkbox is true so that it opens up the debug log for me, and I can quickly have a look here. So it should give us the complete request, that means success request here. You can see we have got this success. Line number 21 is our debug statement which is getting executed, and we are getting some sort of data. Code is again giving us 200, right? This is what we are getting here. Now one thing that you need to do is, we said that it is static, right? We need to make it dynamic. How we are going to make this dynamic? We will pass some set of record IDs. So we will say, or we will just pass here, we will say ID equal to a record ID. Okay, so which object record ID will it be? It will be the account object record ID. And now what we will do is, as we have got this record ID, we are going to make a query on account record. We will say account record equal to select ID name from account where ID is this. We just filtered it. Now what we need is, we need to verify, or we can say we need to get the latitude and longitude of shipping address. So we will get all those fields here. We will say shipping street. So we have got all these address fields that we need as per the account object, right? Now we need to prepare our query parameter, right? So we will say address equal to, what we will do is we will say account record dot first thing that we need to get is we need to get shipping street, right? And then what we need to do is we need to put a comma here, and then we will say account record, and here we are going to put the same way. Here we have shipping street, so we are going to put here shipping street, sorry, shipping city, and then again I'm going to put a comma here, and I'm just going to use the same here, and then after that we have state, postal code, and then country. So I'm just going to use here state, and I will say postal code, and here it should be country. So we have got our address, right? Now if we see the API here, this API say the request here, right? If we go to this required parameters, it is saying that it must be URL encoded. So what we need to do is we need to say here we have a class called encoding util, okay, dot, and we have this URL encode. So we can say this is our string that we wanted to encode, and what is encoding format, we can say UTF-8 that we wanted to encode, right? And then we can say that string, and we say encoded string here. And now what we need to do is we need to replace this complete static text with our dynamic text that we have. So now it is converted into the dynamic things. We need to test this, right? How we will be able to test? I'm just going to copy this record ID. Here it is ID, and we are going to copy this. Now we are going to debug this. I will say I'm going to create one ID parameter here. So I'll say ID record ID equal to whatever ID I've got here, and then I'm going to pass this. And then let's quickly execute this. So we are going to see how it is going to work. Either we are getting success or error response. So we are getting success, right? Line number 27, and we can quickly see here in the line number 27 is actual over the success response that we have got. Now next is that we need to parse this response, and then again we need to update that account record somewhere in the account to saying that this is the latitude and longitude of that record. So how we will do is, suppose that we have got this request, that means we have this request as we can put into the browser. I just put here, I'm going to copy this JSON, right? And then what we will do is first we will go to a site called codebeautifier.org/JSON viewer, and here what we will do is we will paste our JSON that we have got, right? Now what we will do is we don't need this total result, we need the status part, so we just kept that status part, right? And then after that we don't need anything, so we are going to, okay, because there are two results, what we will do is we will quickly remove one result. So we have got this one, and then we have got this second. So let's quickly remove this second result, right? We don't need this rate, limit, and API and document, everything. We are just going to remove this. Now we need this, right? We have got, under that what we need is we need this formatted geography and this component. Rest all we don't need. Just copy this or select all these and then remove. Once you will remove, click on beautify so that it gives you a valid JSON. If not, just copy this and then open another site called adminbooster.com, or what you can Google is you can say admin booster JSON to Apex. So as soon as you here, you will get the first link. Click on that, it is going to take you here. Just copy paste your JSON that you have copied, change the class name, you can say OpenCage data, and click on generate. It is going to give you the class, the complete class that you wanted to have, and then copy this class and then save it into your Salesforce environment. I already have, and I will show you here. I have got this OpenCage GeoCoder, and this is the class. You can see I only need status, geometry, components, and results, because under results we have multiple components, right? So that is what we have got this results. Now how we are going to pass this? Before we go ahead, let me quickly talk about one more parameter. So we will talk about parameter. So in the parameters we have seen that this limit equal to 1. So we are going to put this limit equal to 1 because we wanted to get only one result for a particular address or a latitude and longitude. So I'm going to add this parameter at the end as well so that I can only see one result. Now what we need to do is we have got this body, copy this class name here, And what you need to do is, you need to do nothing. You just need to put a class name here, and you can say that OpenCage data. Now we have got this OpenCage data. Put the class name here as well. I will tell you why. And then type here system.json dot, and you just need to select deserialize. Okay, we have this deserialize. What we need to do is, what we need to deserialize, right? We have this string. We wanted to convert that into the object, that means into our class. So we have this body. What is the type in which we wanted to deserialize? That means how I'm going to put my variables, my string variables, into your object variables. So this is our class. We have got this class, right? So we are going to put our class dot cl class. This is the extension. That's it. Now you have passed your result into your own apps class, into your own object, because apps class are known as complex objects. So you have passed response here. Now what you can do is, you have this, right, results class inside this. So what you can do is, you can say list of opencase dot results, that is the class, and you can say result equal to, this is your object, and which variable you wanted to get, this is the variable that you wanted to get. And then if you wanted to get the single result, now just say here, and you can say, instead of result, I'm going to say results, and this will be a result. And you can say that results dot get 0. And you can also put some conditions here in order to do the error handling. You can say if this results is not equal to null, and this result dot size is greater than 0, and then you can just put it here. And then after that, what you can do is just copy paste this line here, and then put this debug result, what result we have gotten from our API, which is OpenCase. Now we are going to see this, how it is going to respond to us. Let's quickly execute. So we have executed our API key. It is executing, and now it is trying to open the debug log for us. We will debug here. You can see now we have got this city and everything that we have, and it is returning us. So it is not giving us the complete, otherwise we have gotten this. You can see, right, geometry. Under that geometry we have got latitude and longitude. So these are actual parameters that we need, and then we can just update our accounts, right? Before we go ahead, what I need to show you is, you have seen, right, you might be noticing how it is going to work. So I'm just going to delete that remote site setting so that you can see unauthorized work, because I've already added that and then didn't show you the error. So I'm just going to copy this OpenCase data. I'm going to delete, and now I will execute. Try to execute this. So you will see the error message here. Now this time you see here, exception executed, unauthorized endpoint, and administrator must go to setup, administer security control, remote site setting, and then add this endpoint. That is what it is asking us to go to. If we see, right, it go to setup, security control, remote site settings, and then here we need to add our endpoint. So that is what you get the error. That is I wanted to show you here. So now we have got this remote site setting. Next, you might wanted to update the account record fields, right? How you are going to update that? So for that, what we will do is, we will go to accounts, right, and then under the field section we will create a new field, and we will say location. So, and the data type will be, this time it should be geolocation, so that it can give us the two fields. One is latitude and longitude. So I will name it as location here. So now it says that degree, and I can say that decimal, and I will say decimal up to 8. It can store up to 8 decimals, and I'm going to just say. So now we have created one record, one field called location here. If you see, right, we have got this location. How we are going to update those values here in this location? We will do here, once we have got our response, right, we already have account here. Now we need to add those two fields as well in the query. So what we will do is, we will say location underscore underscore latitude underscore underscore yes. So this is how we can access our fields, latitude and longitude. So I'm just going to see here, latitude, it should be S, and it should be longitude. Let's see if it is giving us no problem. That means we are able to successfully save our record. If not, we will try to see how we can access. So basically we cannot do that, so I'm just going to Google here query location field. So yeah, this is, now we are going to copy this latitude and longitude here. So I'm just going to say latitude. There might be some typo mistake, that's why we are getting the error, but the concept is same. You have this is your API name, actually the API field that you have created, and then this is for latitude and longitude. Now what we will do is we will say here, now we will say ACC record, right? This is ACC RC dot, and we will say longitude, whatever the value we wanted to put there, and then we have, sorry, latitude, and then again we have this latitude. So we will say ACC RC dot latitude. Now how we will navigate to there? So we need to say result dot, we have got this geometry dot, under that we have fields, right? We can just quickly go back to our class and say this is latitude, LAT for latitude, you can say latitude, and then we can say LNZ for longitude. So now we have got this. Let's quickly try to save here and we will see if yep, we are able to save. Now what we will do is we'll just quickly put one operation here. We will say update ACC record, because we need to update that record. That's what we have. We are doing the update here. Now if we get back here into our account, refresh this page, we can see there is, if we talk about location, there is no location field, right? Now let's quickly execute this. We already added remote site setting. We should not be getting error. We should be able to see the success response. So we have got this. There is no debug log. Are we getting any error? No, because we have removed this debug log. There is no. Let's quickly refresh this page, and you can see, right, we have got this location, latitude and longitude. So that's how you can implement this. Now even if you wanted to call this method from your Apex trigger, you can quickly go ahead. I might have that account trigger. If not, we can just quickly create here. So I have this account trigger, right? So what I can do is I can say I can just call after insert, right? And then what we can do is I'm just going to, yep, this is what we need. I'll just quickly call this class method open GeoCoder util. This is our class, and we have forward geocoding, and then this is what it needs. It needs acc.id. So now we are calling the method from our Apex class while we are inserting the data. Now there is one more thing that you need to keep in mind is whenever you are making any call out from any Apex trigger, you need to make that method as future, and you need to say call out equal to true inside the future annotation. Why we are making that? Because callout might take more time and we don't want it to get into the error called CPU time limit exceeded. Now we are here. If I quickly clone this, right, I don't have any option to clone, so I'll try to create a new object here, new account record. I'll say OpenCage testing. I'm just putting some sort of, I can say this is some sort of address that I'm putting for Mumbai, India, right? I'm just going to save this. So as this is a future call, it will take some time. We need to refresh the page again, and now we can see that latitude and longitude are populated on the location field. So that's how you can implement this OpenCage GeoCoder, and this is actual use case that we wanted to implement, and we implemented this for many of our clients to get the latitude and longitude based on the provided address. And as per the assignment, you can implement the reverse geocoding where you will get the latitude and longitude as an input, and you will update your address as an result operation. That is what you need to do. If you have any questions, please feel free to put down into the Q&A section, and my team will definitely help you. Thank you.